Hello everyone, I'm Ricky Levon, author of Offerings and Sacrifices. In this video I'll be reading Lesson 10, Strange Fire. To follow along, click on the link in the description or pause the video in between each question. Also, make sure to take notes as the questions are given for personal study and reflection. Strange Fire. Lesson 10, taken from Leviticus chapter 10. Question 1. Who is Nadab and Abihu? Or I should say Abihu. And what did they do before the Lord? Leviticus chapter 10, verse 1. Question 2. What was God's response? Leviticus chapter 10, verse 2. Nadab and Abihu decided to do something for the Lord, but was punished because it was not in accordance to his laws. Sometimes we feel like we could do anything for God regardless of his orders. Why is this wrong, and in what ways can we do something for God that is not in accordance to his plan? Question 4. Can a church erroneously do something for God and lead people away from his desire and standards? Please explain. Question 5. Moses gave a word to Aaron regarding the situation. What did he say? Leviticus chapter 10, verse 3. Question 6. Who is Mishael and Eliphan, and what were they requested to do? Leviticus chapter 10, verse 4 through 5. Question 7. What did Moses instruct Aaron and his sons not to do regarding the death of Nadab and Abihu? Leviticus chapter 10, verses 6 through 7. Now it had to be tough for Question 8. It had to be tough for Aaron and his sons to not cry for a family member's death. This behavior is not the usual request from God, but why would the Lord tell them not to do it? Question 9. What command was given to the spiritual leaders and why? Leviticus chapter 10, verses 8 through 11. Question 10. There is a big deal with separating the holy and common. In what ways can we put this separation in our lives on a personal level and at church? Question 11. The leaders were specifically told that they were to teach the people and had to be clear-minded to do so. How can drugs, alcohol, and other substances become a hindrance to fulfilling God's purpose in our lives for others? Question 12. Give the food requirements for the spiritual leaders. Leviticus chapter 10, verses 12 through 15. And question 13. What issue did Moses have with Aaron's remaining sons? And give Aaron's response. Leviticus chapter 10, verses 16 through 20. And now it's time for Just a Thought, a little segment that happens at the end of each lesson. And this one says, there is a false assumption that we can do what we want and God will accept that behavior. Some believe it doesn't matter what God says as long as their heart is in the right place. It's okay to go against him. That thought came to Cain in his sacrifice in Genesis chapter 4 verses 1 through 7. and during the worship service with Nadab and Abihu. Here are two anointed priests, servants for God and leaders to the community, blatantly do a part of the service that was against the rules and paid for it instantaneously. They brought a false light to the Lord, and God destroyed them with the correct one. All people, when serving and worshiping God, should think carefully to what they're bringing to church. Many Christians believe they can say what they want on behalf of God and His people. There is a plethora of times that false light or strange fire is preached or taught in church, much to the detriment of the congregation. Spiritual leaders wanting to placate people might give false ideas on the dead, giving money to get money from God, or preaching on topics that excite instead of instructing and change behavior. God is not pleased with His leaders professing false doctrine. It is by mercy that He doesn't strike false prophets down immediately, like what happened to Aaron's sons. Just because God is not destroying people on the spot doesn't mean He's not pleased. The Lord knows that there are millions of faithful followers being led by strange fire due to their leadership. To all people sharing the Word of God, make sure you're teaching what God commands. Sometimes we get nervous about the message that God is calling for us to give. For example, Samuel in 1 Samuel chapter 3, verses 11 through 15. Jeremiah in the book of Jeremiah chapter 1, verses 11 through 19. And Ezekiel chapter 2, verses 1 through 10. All had messages that were uncomfortable for the attended person or group. However, in every case, they followed God and spoke the message He gave them. Preach, teach, sing, or serve according to what Jesus wants. God has chosen for each person to bring a specific message and light to the world. Convey the light that the Lord is asking, and not the unauthorized fire to worship.